So I've been realizing lately that, well, no, I knew this, but I just like don't practice this as much as I should, which I'm definitely also learning how to practice, is keeping a high vibration, meaning being happy, like being joyful, being in the present moment. That trumps everything else. That comes first. You can have all the work to do in the world. You could be a workaholic, and you can really grind it out and feel very accomplished getting things done, which I do, everybody does. But if you're not doing it from a space of joy or flow, you're going to be too much in your masculine energy, which, come on, like everybody is, I think, for the most part, unless you really have worked on being in your feminine energy. And for me personally, I'm a different breed. We're not going to go into details with me because I have a really strong Mars, so we're not going to go there. And you can also strengthen like different planets in your chart, by the way. I'll talk about this later, but you can strengthen Venus, you can strengthen your Saturn, you can do like many different practices to strengthen you guys should really do this, by the way. Like if you study your chart and if you find that you have some malefics in your chart that are acting poorly, because sometimes malefics can be good as well. They can serve your chart in a positive manner if they are placed in such a way. But if they're placed in a detrimental way and they're malefic, then you definitely want to work on those planets and those aspects. So you can do things like listen to certain mantras regarding the deities that govern the planets. Like you can listen to Shani mantra for Saturn, you can listen to Surya for the sun, you can listen to Lakshmi Devi for Venus. It's just really like, textbook stuff. And when you listen though, you get into a trance, you get into a meditative state, and you actually can get into a prayerful state. And I'm going to tell you guys a secret, okay? Prayer is a superpower. It is bigger and better than any type of explorative magic or science that we could get into. Prayer is basically like asking in such a way that you are going to receive, so prayer is very powerful because we can't do anything. Like human beings are really limited in our capabilities. And I know I gas us up a lot. I'm always gassing human beings up because we have a direct connection to source consciousness, right? To our creator. But if we're not exploring that connection, if we're not actively using that connection via prayer, then what's the use of it, right? So prayer is the way to actually walk down that medium, to walk down that road, that pipeline connection to God. And that's why like you can pray at any point in time. Like people think that you need to go somewhere to pray, or you need to be in a certain frame of mind to pray, or no, like we're children, and it says this in the Bible as well, that like sin, quote unquote, I'm not going to get into that, but like basically sin is our nature. Like we are sinners. You know what I mean? So like it's lit because automatically we have like the compassion of the divine, automatically we have the like opportunity to surrender, to surrender our ego, to surrender our activities unto the divine at all moments of time. And it even says this in the Gita that, like you can do, because we have to do things, right? We have to take care of our bodies, we eat, we sleep, we repeat, we have to do things. So like if we just offer every action, even our breath, unto the divine, then it automatically becomes cleansed. You know what I mean? It automatically becomes, how do I say it? Like karmically balanced, So this is what bhakti is. This is like actually what bhakti yoga is. Bhakti in Sanskrit means devotion. So when you live a life of devotion, meaning every moment is basically for God, loving God, having fun with God, then you sit on the higher plane in the sense that your frequency goes way up, you know what I mean? And you can surf joy, And it's such a rare thing for people to experience joy, but I'm telling you, joy will reverse a chronic illness. Joy will reverse depression. Joy will reverse money issues. Joy will reverse anything, that is just not in alignment with the natural state of the soul. Joy is the soul's natural state. Love and joy and peace, peacefulness, spirituality, harmony, balance, right, is the soul's natural state. And so like we as human beings, it's our goal to really come back into contact with who we really are, so that we don't you know, essentially start creating more chaos for ourselves in our lifetime, create more negative karma for ourselves, right? Which, you know, everything you do comes back to you guys. Trust me, like everything you do comes back, and, you know, we will have to learn this the hard way. There's no other way to learn it. You know, like we will see the results of our actions. And if you study yourself and your life, and if you study like, okay, why are things the way that they are, you will see that it's just because of you. It's because of what your thoughts have been and what you've been putting out there with your thoughts, which are things, right? Which are active, literal objects that reflect a vibration outwards that has to come back, you know. I'll give you a really personal example, tentatively. So I used to struggle a lot with like pretty much every sphere of my life, you know, everything, literally. Like my health was like shit, like my relationships were shit, and everything like that. And I was like stuck, you know, and I was like, why is this happening? And it was because of me. It was because of my vibration. It was because I was focusing on my problems. And so I was focusing on my problems, and so they started growing, you know, and they became bigger and bigger, and like one thing led to another, and I just had it, you know, at many points I just had it. And the thing about having it though is that you don't really change unless you embrace healing, which is never self-derogatory. Like healing is never self-shaming, you know? Healing is never like, I've had it. Like that's not healing, you know? That's a sign, the biggest sign, the biggest conclusion that you need to heal, that you need to start embracing healing, right? And so healing is, again, attempting to surf that joy. And so an attempt is actually like the closest thing to success all of the time. I don't like the word trying. Like, I don't like the word try, right? Because I think it's like, okay, there's no such thing. Like, either you do it or you don't, right? But that's just how I look at things. But, you know, if you want to take it at a micro level, trying is succeeding because you are doing what you were not able to do before, you know. So this is a compassionate way to look at things. This is a compassionate way to view yourself, that okay, I'm trying, I'm making an effort, this is my current success, and my success is only going to grow. You know what I mean? So I think it's good to try. I think it's important to try, and to keep trying, and try even more, and try even harder the next time, and to do it again and again and again until you literally achieve massive success in any realm of your life that you wish to achieve success within, like whether it's spirituality, whether it's healing, whether it is working on your physicality, anything. Human beings are supernatural. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. Human beings are supernatural, you know, because why? Because we have that pipeline to creator, right? To creation itself. And again, I'm telling you guys, no other, there are 8.4 billion species of life on Earth. Do you know that? No other being has the ability to do what human beings can do. Ultimately, which is prayer, which is going within, which is understanding that connection to source. Your whole life will be taken care of. Like when you surrender yourself, your breath, like I said, your food, even before you eat, like when you just live consciously, right? And you think of the divine in all moments, and you sing for God, you eat for God, you know, make friends with other people, and you see God within them, you see them as children, then nobody can ever like offend you or hurt you or anything, because you understand, you know, everything, you know. And so like that's joy. You know, that's joy. And I'm telling you guys, like the spiritual awakening process is quite horrible and like gory, or like even you know, just difficult and disturbing as well, because you raise your vibrational frequency, and then all of a sudden, like, you go out into the world again, and then you realize that, oh, hey, guess what? Like, I'm pretty much the only person here that has realized these things or done this type of work on myself, inner work, right? And like, you know, everyone else is just still asleep. So I have to be compassionate. Like, I have no other choice. Like, because I know, right? So ultimately, I have a duty or like a responsibility to like protect people within my mind, or like to hold compassion for people, to hold love for people, because I have seen the truth. I have seen capital S. And like once you see, you can't unsee, you can't go back. There's no way. You can really try to numb, and I did this, by the way, I'm telling you this from experience. Like you can try to numb the ascension process. You can try to numb yourself. You will just stay stagnant because you can't ever go back. So what happens if you try to like stop the inner growth or stop living from that higher plane that you have now broken through is you will plateau, and you'll sit on a vibration that is stagnant. And so everything else in your life will become stagnant. Even your health will become stagnant, because your body is not matching now the frequency that you've broken into. And so that's what happened with me. I refused. At one point, I refused to continue doing the inner work. I refused. I was like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm over it. I'm tired. I don't want to be woke. I don't want to be grown. I don't want to be mature. Like literally that was my mindset. I was like, I don't want to be spiritually mature. The world is a dense place. The frequency of the world is very dense. It hurts me. It harms me to be so open like a child, like to people and things, and again, that was my fault, right? Let's be very much clear with how we are operating at all moments in time. Again, that was my fault. Why? Because instead of doing the inner work to establish energetic boundaries at that point in time, which I had now the capability to do, right? I instead turned around, I got scared, and I embraced fear. And I decided to stop doing any kind of inner work. I started numbing myself a lot, with just different things like studying even, or like even my passions. I let myself just really go like far. How do I explain it? Go far into like being obsessed with certain things, basically, like being obsessed with business, being obsessed with how things look on the outside. You know what I mean? And this was a new level for me because I had never experienced this before in my life. Like, I never cared really about how things looked on the outside or anything. Like, even growing up, I would see people on social media and I'd be like, whatever, like I'm just like them, like I don't know, just a really like self-contented like outlook, but then for the first time in my life, right, I had stopped doing that inner work, and I was like, okay, I did some work, right? I did some inner work. Now I want things to materialize on the outside, and they did, because what happens when you cultivate inner wealth is that outer wealth starts to materialize. You don't even have to do anything. You just fall into it, That's, by the way, how money works. Money is a frequency. It's not material. It's spiritual. It's energy, right? I mentioned in one of my videos, like the practice of celibacy. And somebody recently asked me on one of my calls, what did you mean by that when you said that celibacy attracts wealth? Because that's what I said in my video. And what I meant is essentially, when we cultivate prana, and we hold it within ourselves, we actually become very powerful in terms of our energy. So our body has the capability to heal itself faster, things like that. Our immune system gets better. We just become more energetically healthy because we're not, giving away our chi just like randomly or without any ritual behind it, right? So, or intention, right? Because we can do that. So that's what I meant, essentially. And yes, it's said that after a year of celibacy, at least a year, Venus blesses you, basically, and you become, your body can change, you can become more attractive as well. And you just cultivate more, you just have a higher threshold for your own energy. The threshold increases, you see. So it's not just the energetic accumulation of chi that increases, but it's also the threshold of how much you can actually hold within yourself. And you don't take this with a grain of salt, but you don't need to eat as much, and you don't also need to sleep as much. You become more self-sufficient energetically. Again, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not a medical practitioner. This is not advice, right? This is not medical advice. So so that is what I meant when I said that in my video. And, I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in people that I've coached. It's a thing, especially because when we focus our passion on something outside of us, and we direct our chi energy towards, let's say, a business or things that actually can be very fertile, right? Because we're talking about fertility here, right? This is the sacral and solar plexus chakra, right? When we preserve the energy that is contained within those chakra points, then we can become very fertile in our own energy, and we inject this fertility within business. We inject this fertility within relationships, and things around us begin to flourish. Sorry for tripping over my words so much. It's just like a lot. My brain is faster than my mouth, so all the time it's really a problem. So that's what I meant with that. And right, it's important to really try as much as we can to keep doing that inner work. Like I said, I plateaued. That's my story, right? I didn't want to continue. I was so afraid of what I had seen, and what I had been through. It was just very traumatic for me personally, that I've never shared really. But the spiritual awakening process is quite daunting. It's quite jarring. You get shaken up, So I had just experienced how nothing in the third dimension is causation. It's just effect, right? So that made me realize how we are the cause of things. And so that it made me very afraid of my own power, and it'll happen with a lot of people as well. I've heard stories of people having the same experience where they get afraid of their own manifestation capability and their own thoughts. They get afraid that, oh my God, my negative thoughts are literally actualizing. I can see them actualizing and materializing. How do I turn off my awareness? You know what I mean? And so that was me. I just completely stopped doing the inner work for a while there. This was around 2021, 2022, I'd say. And then, what happens is you plateau, you don't actually go backwards, because once the soul expands, it retains all of the information that it has explored. So the consciousness cannot go back, or revert to the way that it was before, but you can plateau. And we have free will, so you can definitely get yourself into some trouble, and so I did, for sure, here and there. And then eventually you if you want to continue, you have no choice. Do you see what I'm saying? It's if you want to start moving, you can't go backwards. You only have to go forward. So you have no choice but to do the inner work. And then you do the inner work and you're oh, hey, wait, this is what I have been missing out on. My heart needs to heal. I have the ability to heal it, right? I can connect and rebalance my chakra points. I can open my heart again to life, to people. All the scaries were in my head, but they weren't, because I was experiencing them physically, but they start in your head, so then you take energetic responsibility basically for your thoughts, which is what, you kind of go back to where you left off of, basically, with the ascension process. And so then that's my story. Then I started doing the inner work again, you know what I mean? And it's bumpy, it's messy, but the outcome is beautiful, is rich, is clean, is pure. When you raise your vibration, that's the point. It's not easy, that's the point, because nothing worth having is easy. Nothing worth having is easy, whether it's anything in life. Anything, business, family, relationships, community, whatever. It's not easy. Life is not easy. You need to put a certain level of effort and energy and energetic intention within what you do, right? Including what you think, right? So like I said in the beginning of this audio, it is with what energy you do things that matters the most. You can grind it out, you can be in your masculine, which is really easy for people to do because it just doesn't require as much interconnectivity or effort. You can just simply get things done, cross things off your list, which is something that I'm always doing. I run many things, so I'm very busy, and so it's very easy for me particularly to fall into my masculine. I like it, I enjoy it. I feel stable there, and I've always said this to girls. If you're a girl and you're listening to this, I've just always said this to girls that I've met or been friends with, is that, learn how to think like a man, learn how to be in your masculine, because it'll allow for you to protect the feminine, we have both within ourselves. So you can definitely strengthen both individually and then balance them out together. And then when you balance them out together, oh man, you become whole. You become very just in sync with your own self, right? Capital S. You become very attractive to different opportunities in life that you may have not been able to see if you were only in your feminine or only in your masculine, right? So yeah, this is just stuff that people can really. So how do you balance out your masculine and feminine? Well, there are meditations for this, but also you can use anything to do anything else. We're magicians, you understand. You can use anything to do anything else. So let's say you want to be more in your masculine. Great, go work out. Listen to music that is more masculine, like rap and things like that. You know what I mean? And stay in that energy. Be more with this in the sun. You know what I mean? Because the sun is a masculine element, and explore that. Take time to do that. Alternatively, if you want to be in your feminine, it's very easy to do this. Decorate yourself, take care of yourself, do your goddess work, you know what I mean? Take care of your body in different ways, sing, grow your hair, things like that. And guys, we're so beautiful, every person is so beautiful, is a universe. And so that's why I really would like to remind everybody, including myself, that there's no separation within anybody. There's no separation between you and I, we just think that there is. And so we place ourselves and other people into categories that, oh, she's like this, he's like this, this person is like this, or I'm going to judge them, even. And this just keeps you stuck. It keeps you unable to ride that frequency of joy, higher joy, because you're not seeing clearly, you're not seeing the truth of what it is, what life is, and life is so beautiful, so intoxicating. And I have to remember this more than probably anybody else, because I've just always in my life had a tendency to fall into depression, just very easily, because I'm a very intense person. So, I know pure joy, unbridled joy, real joy, because I know the exact opposite, the dark opposite of it, which is very low vibing. And I've been there, I've seen things, both inside of myself and outside, right? Just the horrors really of human life, of the human psyche as well. And that's why I'm here to tell you guys that travel, don't be afraid to travel the insides of your mind and your consciousness, and the world as well. Learn as much as you can about yourself and the world, but understand that you are traveling for the reason and the purpose of self-knowledge and self-exploration. Self with a capital S, like I said, soul, right? There's no such thing as you even as being separate from anything or anyone else. There's no such thing. You're not separate. That's why even your name is and your perceived identity, the identity you've created for yourself, all these things, they can be shifted, they can be explored and shifted by you, because who you are is the soul self, right? And you guys have no idea, I'm sitting recording this under the sun, SOL, the sun is the fulcrum of all of life, right? So in the same way, our soul is the basically starting point of any any animation, any life that is expressed through us, no matter what body we take, right? Whether it's this body or another body. That's why all forms of life are sacred, and we should protect and preserve all forms of life because that's the truth. You see what I'm saying? And to live in any other way that is not truth-based or truth-centered is doing yourself the greatest disservice. That's why love is the truth, because living in any other way is a lie. It's a lie, right? And, I personally, I don't even like to say I. And I've said this before, probably in different videos, I don't exist, Seema doesn't exist or whatever. And, you'll learn this as you explore yourself, that, hey, you are a devoted part and parcel of the divine. You are a child, really, of God. And, it's, so easy to understand that people overcomplicate it, but it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. We don't need to give in to different expressions of this. We don't need to succumb to variations between dogmas or religion. Cut it out, cut all that stuff out and explore the self, capital S. Go within, shut your eyes. The two physical eyes you have will not show you the truth, right? It's only the inner eye that will show you the truth. And so shut the two outer eyes, focus on the inner eye, and go within, see what you find, right? We live in the digital age, guys. There's no better time or space to awaken. Everybody's waking up around the globe because we have access to information, resources that tell us the truth. Like I said, the truth, okay? Capital T, okay? About life. And we can explore different audios, different binaural frequencies, right? We have access to information about health and Eastern medicine and things that actually work, right, in tandem with other practices. So there's no reason to not study. There's no reason to not self-study. We should always be attempting to self-study, even within our relationships, ask yourself, okay, why did I respond that way? Why did I act that way? Why did I feel that way? Because we even place ourselves within boxes when we relate to other people, because we judge, how things are going based off of how the other person is responding or reacting. And we never judge ourselves. We never look at ourselves and go, hey, maybe I'm the problem, And for me in particular, I will always, I always take accountability with myself in the sense that it's always my fault, right? And then I go and I do the inner work. And nobody has to know about this either. You don't have to do anything on the physical, but as long as you are realizing where you are, just for your own sake, so you can heal and grow, that's what is honestly all that is needed. So that's the most empowering thing you can do is just understanding that you are in the driver's seat of your own self-realization. You are in the driver's seat of your own vibrational frequency as well. And you can always self-study. And one other thing as well about relationships is that we place relationships in a box too. And we have been eating what Netflix has been feeding us about relationships. That, okay, it needs to be this way, it needs to be that way, it needs to be a romantic relationship, or friendships should be like this, or I'm starting to just really shift my mindset around all those things. I don't agree. I really don't with the way that things should be, If you want to be traditional and enter into a connection for the purpose of marriage or something, that's a personal decision, right? That's cool. But at the same time, I'm realizing as well that friendship is a universal it's a universal frequency. It's a universal connection. We can be friends with anybody. We can be friends with our teachers, with our students, with our with the professionals in our lives, with everybody in our lives, older, younger, it doesn't matter. Anybody can be a friend, and that's my personal philosophy, because we are ultimately all teaching each other, are we not? We're all each other's teachers and gurus, and so when we live from this way, we are free, we are set free, we are not putting ourselves into how things should be or confining our scope of relationships, right? And so then we don't limit ourselves as well. So yeah, that's my yap for today. I love you guys so much. Go meditate in the sun if you would like to, if you haven't already today. It's about 130 degrees where I'm at. So I hope it's like not as crazy for you. Personally, I love the heat. I really do. I feel like I was born to like be in the heat, you know? Like I can't do cold weather. Like I was meant to be brown and and happy and tan and in the sun, and that's just like my I just feel so good in the sun, you know? Like I can feel my my entire like immune system just upgrading, like literally within minutes, you know, of being in the sun. So I will always advocate for that, you know. And by the way, if you want to do any binaural frequencies or anything, I really would recommend drinking a lot of water, just because it helps to flush out the previous energy or the current energy state that you're in. It's really helpful, you know, to drink a lot of water when you do that. That reminds me to go drink some right now. So I love you guys. Thank you for listening. This was a long one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like, comment down below anything you want. If you have any questions, you can ask me as well. I love you guys again, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.